I'm deeply honored and very proud to be asked to speak here today. And when I see the program of this event and all the distinguished speakers we will hear from during these 3 days, I'm very humbled by being asked to share this podium with them. I haven't been in Somalia very long, but I've already been fortunate enough to meet with Dr. Sadio Siad a few times. She has told me her life story, and I'm sure that many of you are familiar with that story, but I find it so inspirational that I would like to draw your attention to it once more. When civil war and conflict raged in Somalia, not unlike today's situation, her family lost their home. They were down to scratch. But she did not let that stop her from dreaming of an education, and she started to teach herself English from listening to the radio. But the remarkable thing is that she didn't want an education just for her own pursuit of happiness. She looked at the state Somalia was in and wanted to get an education in order to make a difference to her country. She told me that she wanted to make a bargain with God. If he could make her dreams of an education come true, and that probably meant having to go abroad, she would come back to Somalia and use that education to the benefit of her society. She started out, and after a while she had a bit of luck and was able to make it to Denmark. Or maybe it wasn't luck. She had tried to sell God on a deal. It would be presumptuous of me to try to figure out how God was thinking, but I'll give it a try anyway. Perhaps God thought as follows: well, this young woman has proposed a bargain to me. Worst thing that could happen would be that she let me down. But humans have done that so many times during the last million years, so once more wouldn't make that much of a difference. I'll take a chance on her. Whatever, whether it was by luck or divine intervention, she came to Denmark. There she had to learn Danish. Have you ever tried to learn Danish? I come from Norway, and Norwegian and Danish are said to be closely related languages. But even I often have a hard time understanding Danish. They have so many weird sounds. So I can't even imagine how it would be if your native tongue was Somali. Like almost all Norwegians, I visited Denmark a lot of times ever since I was a kid. That's where Norwegians go if you want to have a good time, because it's a great country, even if they talk funny. So I have a pretty good idea about what Danish is supposed to sound like. And when I first met with Dr. Sadio, she demonstrated her Danish to me. I'll tell you. If someone had said to me that this person grew up just a few blocks away from the Tivoli Garden in Copenhagen, you could have fooled me. Fluent in Danish, she climbed up the ladder of education, step by step, until she wanted to widen her horizons and went to England. There she completed her education by getting a PhD from a prestigious English university. That's truly amazing, considering her starting point. And now it appeared that God had been right. God usually is right, of course, in accepting her deal, because she kept her end of the bargain. She went back to Somalia and created what we are celebrating here today. The overarching theme of this year's STEM Summit is fostering a learning culture through practical research and actions. It will address some very pertinent issues: the effects of global warming, the environmental problems facing the Shabelle River, empowering women and girls, just to mention a few. What I admire about STEM is the way we are made to see the connection between education as a means of individual empowerment as well as an investment in societal change. How the big issues are addressed in practical and operational manners. How the connection is made in applying what STEM stands for: science, technology, education, mathematics, to solve the problems Somalia is facing and to build what Somalia desperately needs: a private sector with the competence needed in today's competitive technological environment. And from what I deduct from studying the material that Dr. Sadio has provided to me, it seems clear that there is a combination of bringing in state-of-the-art international knowledge with a curriculum and a course structure that is specially made to fit in a Somali context, designed in a way that takes into account how people of both genders live here in Somalia. Somalia still has a long way to go. Let's be realistic about that. And it's a country in armed conflict. We have seen some progress, but also some setbacks lately, and we don't know when Somalia can enjoy peace. We can only hope for that day to come as soon as possible. But winning the peace doesn't begin the day conflict ends. It must begin much before. History shows that the post-conflict societies most likely to succeed are those with a solid base of skills and competence among its population. That's what STEM is all about. And as I said, it's practically oriented, focused on what works in the real world, and uniquely adapted to Somalia's specific needs and circumstances. In other words, remarkably down to earth for being something that originated with a pact made in heaven. Thank you, and best of luck to this event and to the future of STEM.